Open invitation.
Right. You said you can come whenever you want.
Anytime. You pick a time, I will be here.
And you would have been the best person for her to talk to because you're not going to attack her. You would just ask her questions, but that's the problem. I don't know if she'd be able to answer those questions.
I'll ask her a question, but I think they had requirements on things that she didn't want to talk about. She didn't want to talk about marijuana legalization, which I thought was hilarious.
Why?
Like, that's so... Because of her prosecuting record.
Oh, well, I mean, that was her old job, though.
Yeah. And, she put a lot of people in jail for weed.
Oof. According to Joe Rogan, the topic of marijuana was an absolute no-go for the Harris campaign. He says it was one of the topics they told him was off limits if she did, in fact, agree to come on his podcast.
All right, because really Joe Rogan has been talking about this Kamala Harris interview that never happened, that for her case it should have happened, but they weren't going to vote for her anyway. But in reality, it would have still been kind of cool, right? It would have been kind of cool. There's so many things with this Joe Rogan interview of Kamala that has come out. Now, I want to address the part of, she put a lot of people in jail for weed. Listen, that's the time it was back then. People were going to jail for weed, okay? You do the crime, you pay the time. I don't understand what's so wrong with that. Me personally, I have no issue with that. I don't. I don't. This notion of I get it. Everybody has gummies and all this stuff, and I don't want to, get all into that. And you do whatever you want. But if it was a crime to have it, then, you do the crime, you pay the time. That was the law. What do you want her to do? And the thing is also, Kamala Harris had she was tough on crime. She also had a thing where you would put people in, involuntary drug rehab. And somebody's going to say, well, what if they don't want to be rehabbed from drugs? They can't be on the street getting high. They can't. Then they need to figure it out and stay in the house or something. Don't get caught. I'm so sincere. Why? Why am I wrong for that, right? Because when you see the streets and how the children have to cross over these half-dead bodies, to get to school. Which one is more important? I don't want that outside. I don't care, right? Now, to be honest, I'd rather the programs actually rehab people. We know a lot of these programs is really just like frequent flyer type of programs. It's a whole different episode. But I'm not really that worked up over her crime policies in the past than I am over how she spent her campaign money. So why don't we actually get into that? Because Joe Rogan actually talks about that a little bit too.
Or to Kamala Harris, I'm like, I bet there's a person in there. I bet I can get to that person.
Yeah.
I wanted to find that person. I don't want to hear all the speeches. I don't want to hear, I was raised middle class. I don't want to hear any of that.
She's a roller skater. You know that?
No, I would love to find that out.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to her about all kinds of I literally said, because there was a few restrictions of things they didn't want to talk about, but I said, I don't give a I go get her in here, whatever you want to talk about. And they want to know if I edit. I'm like, there's not going to be any editing. There's no editing. I just wanted to talk.
Kamala Harris probably should have taken advantage of those very free opportunities for earned media where she could get her message out.
By the way, guys, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. I thank you for every eye that lands on these videos. Let's get back to it.
Especially on a huge platform like Joe Rogan's podcast,
or ours.
But, I mean, would she ever bother coming on our show?
She would have never went on TYT. Right, and for however many people who might feel some type of way about TYT, she would not have went on TYT. They would have asked her very hard questions, definitely on, Gaza and on many other things. Right, they're not Republicans. I mean, I don't know. Anna says she's switching over, but Cenk is not a Republican, but he's also not. Even though he goes on the unhinged rant, he would not just give her a softball interview. So we already know that.
Joe.
So, yeah, look, guys, a quick thing on this, and then we'll get back to all the ways that she spent money like an idiot. Sorry, Kamala Harris Protection Industrial Complex. Sorry, we have to protect her ego.
Spent money like a brilliant person who put a
wasted
campaign
it all and lost. Okay, anyways, so look, guys, you can say I'm biased on this, perfectly fine. I don't know that there's any show or network on the planet that had more undecided voters. I read your comments every single day on air. So many of you were undecided. The way that Democrats work and Kamala Harris works, just this is for your edification, less about us, is the money that we're about to tell you they spent on ads. they're not really buying the ads as much as they're buying the earned media that comes with the ads. What they're getting compliance. That's what they're buying from those outlets. The reason why they won't advertise on us, even though we have 27 million subscribers, 29 billion lifetime views. I mean, there's only two possible explanations. One is there's not a single person in the building that understands the internet at all. So they're like, oh, who's the biggest online network on the left? If you can't answer that question and you don't know that it's us, my God, you didn't do any of your homework, right? Yeah. So, okay, either you're grossly incompetent.
Too much of the glazing of the TYT, you know what I mean? Like, I'm totally with it. Like, I get the point. They should have, reached out. They would have been much better off. We shoulda, woulda, couldas. It didn't happen. Shout out to them for building what they've built. Let's get back into the actual topic at hand.
The new report out by Gabe Kaminsky from Washington Examiner. They actually looked at the disclosures and filings of the Harris campaign to see how much money they raised, where the money went, and boy, is it a doozy. So, for instance, in mid-October, by the way, let me just be clear. Harris didn't run a full campaign. She ran a campaign for 3 months, raised a record amount of money, over $1 billion, and somehow spent that within 3 months. So in mid-October, the Harris campaign disclosed that it had spent over $880 million this election, almost $526 million greater than the roughly $354 million that the Trump campaign had disclosed spending, according to a Washington Examiner analysis of federal filings. Much of the Harris campaign spending was allocated for digital media advertising, polling, and travel from state to state, including to a private jet company called Advanced Aviation. Now, between July 22nd and Election Day specifically, the campaign and its affiliated committees spent upwards of $654 million on advertising alone. And that included spending $450 a day to be shown on the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Cringe.
That is just like, why? Why? That wasn't gonna make people, nobody does. Is there like not a common sense advisor in these, panels or whatever, the team? Nobody had the common sense to say, guys, I don't think that we should waste the $450 a day on this because it's going to amount to, however many millions, right? These kind of things don't make people say, oh, man, I forgot. I have to vote for Kamala. I'm glad I saw that big spear thing on the thing, on the billboard, whatever you call it. Like, almost forgot, guys. I almost was getting ready to vote for Trump, but seeing this, now I'm going to vote for Kamala. No, it does not. It doesn't. It doesn't even spark, maybe it might spark a conversation in a car, but I just don't think the reach is necessary for this. Excuse me, I don't think this is necessary for the minimal reach that it would get. It's not going to change people's mind. By the way, it's funny that the Trump Tower is right behind this thing. That's what I saw. I saw that actually faster than I saw this.
Definition of cringe.
Real Jesus. Persuasive. I mean, how are you not going to vote for the lady on the Sphere?
They spent $450,000 a day on that ad. I mean, they're just burning your money.
We need to construct a Sphere.
But it got even worse,
for money. And one such person is Megan Thee Stallion, okay? One half of the WAP duo with Cardi B. She came out, she was one of the first people to perform for Kamala Harris, and she was reportedly paid $5 million for this.
$5 million, before we get to for this, $5 million for Megan Thee Stallion, and watch what she gets paid $5 million for. $10 million for Beyonce, $1 million for Oprah. Al Sharpton got some money too. What was going on?
I need everybody in the crowd to make some noise for Miss Harris. Make some noise for Miss Harris.
This guy, he's probably like, what the heck?
Future president.
There you go. She got paid to shake her booty.
Okay. $10 million. I mean, $5 million. And then I just...
Voices
sing a chorus of unity. They sing a song of dignity and opportunity. Are y'all ready to add your voice to the new American song?
She's like, oh, like, you know what, whatever. It's Beyonce, shout out to the hair extensions and all. It doesn't do it for people anymore. It really doesn't. Like, let's keep it real. It doesn't. Also, I feel like she's almost medicated doing this anyway. Anyway, the point is, that's what these people wasted money on. They also did a replica studio they rebuilt this for Kamala Harris to do the Call Her Daddy podcast. For whatever reason, they felt like they needed, podcast, whatever. But this was rebuilt, and it was like $100,000 to build this. And I'm just like, give me give me like a small amount of that, and then I could build this amazing studio in this house, whatever. Anyway, so you see what the money was wasted on? And then on top of all of that, they had no messaging. Kamala said she wouldn't change anything from Joe Biden. They didn't train her on how to speak to people, how to connect, to see where she could draw back and then bring new ideas in. She should have spent money on a trainer and everything. But when it's all said and done, it was racism and sexism. That's why she didn't win. Okay. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.